going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Queens. I'm your host, Pamela and Nicole, and I've got my beautiful co-host,
Nia J in the building.
And so today, guys, we have a special treat for you all. I have the one and only Hunter Bonvicin and Kim Hatchell in the building. Let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thank you.
Perfect. So real quick for our viewers, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do.
My name is Hunter, and we are opening a dance studio in downtown Las Vegas. It's a pole and movement and yoga and basically kind of a hybrid of all movement and like mindset practices. So
with a special caveat.
Yeah.
It is all about feminine empowerment, about just owning our stuff back, no shame, no judgment, move, love your body. Like,
Wow.
No, like we even have a studio that doesn't have any mirrors in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, don't we all wake up in the morning? Women, we wake up, the first thing we do is judge and shame ourselves, right?
Right. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's amazing. So both of you guys, Kim and Hunter, can you both give us a little insight on how you got your interest in dance or like where that stemmed from growing up?
Yeah, so I've been dancing probably since I was 16, I think. I grew up in Alaska. I had a typical upbringing. I had my dad wanted me to play baseball and all the typical male sports. And I was always really drawn towards movement and dance. And so when I was 16, I finally grew wild hair and told them, I was like, I'm done doing all this other stuff. I really want to move. And so I really quickly got into a dance studio there. I started with hip hop and jazz. And then I very quickly transitioned into teaching. So I taught ages 2 through adult up until I was probably 25. And then I went into drag performing. I was really, really into that for a while. I lived in Portland. I worked at Hamburger Mary's, had a show there. And that fused, that kind of connected me to heels. I loved my heels.
Who doesn't?
I know.
Right?
And then, just fast forward years, I kind of fell out of it and then went back. After meeting Kim, I actually went and tried a pole class for the first time. And it was like that part of me that I had grown up with, loving dance and movement. It's like the second I touched the pole, it was like a sword and stone connection. I felt like this surge where I was like, oh, this is what's been missing. Then Kim's story is a little different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm old. So dancing was not really part of my jam. And, it was like being a mom and raising kids and being, a boss bitch and having a great job where I can support myself and everybody.
Okay.
And life, right? So trauma, breakup stuff, right? And my oldest daughter had gotten a Groupon for pole in Southern California. And so I was like, yeah, I'm up for it, right? So it was called S Factor. And I knew what it was because in LA, there were just studios and it had a curvy S woman with a pole. So I knew it was a pole studio. So we go in to do this Groupon thing. It was not what I thought it was going to be because I kind of had an idea of what pole fitness was about, right? You go into a studio, it's light, it's bright, there's a pole, we learn a choreo. This is not like that. So when I walked into the studio, I could hear women screaming, pounding on the ground. The music was really loud. I was like, what the is going on in there? Yeah. So my daughter and I, the receptionist had said, do you guys want to just go and observe? These are advanced practitioners in S Factor. So we go into their dance studio, the room they had just taken a water break, and they sit us down on the ground because it's time for them to do their free dance. So you sit down on the ground, the door closes, there's no mirrors, the light is dark and red and just sexy. And they get up and they express themselves through dance. So I listened to this woman for 4 solid minutes tell me and everybody else in that room exactly how her day was going, exactly how she felt. And I think she was pretty pissed off based on the song and the way she was moving, but she never spoke a word, never said anything. And we went from one dancer to the next dancer, women expressing themselves, whether it was joy or pain or sadness or anger, whatever it was. And I left that class and I said, where do I sign?
Wow.
And that was 12 years ago. So I've been doing X Factor for 12 years, and every day is a journey, because every day is a journey when we wake up, right? I don't feel the same way I did yesterday. I'm definitely more tired than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
And so coming to Vegas, so when I moved here to Vegas, there is no S Factor in Vegas. Nobody has ever had an S Factor class. And so I would not shut up. Hunter was my realtor. That's how we met.
Wow.
So after searching and searching for a place where I could drop, or we could drop into our bodies the way that you need to in order to practice like that. Because, when you're being really vulnerable with your body and your emotions, especially for women, or expressing your feminine, it's a protected space, right? We couldn't find anything like that in Vegas. So we decided,
let's build it.
Concept of that, because you think of the psychology of it all. Like you said earlier, we wake up every day, we're looking in the mirror, and it's always like, oh, I've got a pimple here, oh, my hair looks like shit, oh, this, and this whole situation. The S Factor, to me, what you're telling me, you can utilize S Factor in everyday life, not just whole, like literally you wake up and it's like, I don't have to look, it's all about what I feel.
Yeah, 100%.
And getting stuff out, right? I mean, the shame that we build up in our body from, you deserve that, or you shouldn't wear that clothing, or close your legs. I mean, since we were little, most people don't even remember the first time. We call it your first offense, and not in a traumatic sense, but the first time that somebody makes you realize that there's something different about your feminine body than your male counterparts.
The first time somebody tells you, whether it's like your parent or a partner, or even sometimes I think like yourself, like maybe things that are biases that have been from your religious upbringing or whatever. Some women can't show their shoulders, or have been told that it's wrong to have something that shows their cleavage, or that their love handle, quote unquote, is like unappealing in some way, instead of being taught to not only acknowledge the fact that you have it, but touch it and appreciate it and allow music to drop you. Exactly.
Yes.
Allow music to drop you into the pleasure of doing things. Right? Like this, we did this exercise yesterday where it was the simplicity of placing your finger on your lip and
with your eyes closed,
and slowly kind of just moving your hand across your mouth and allowing yourself to sit in the sensation that you were feeling, and paying attention to the warmth of your own body and the softness of the lip. So much we put on lip gloss, we do all this stuff in the morning, but we don't take the time to like feel it. We don't take it. It's just stuff we're doing and putting on for a presentational side of things. And it kind of, the no mirrors, I think exactly what you said, Pam. It's like you get to this point where you're no longer caring about what the exterior is, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm doing this just because of how it feels, and it's transformative.
I think it's so beautiful because it seems like an alternative to like traditional therapy. If you ask me, I've never seen this type of approach when it came to pole or exotic dance or anything like that. So I like how Kim, you said when you first walked in there, you could actually feel the emotions and know exactly the kind of day these women had without even speaking a word. How powerful do you feel in that moment when you're the first time that you were able to be like, you know what? I'm about to express myself in this room full of strangers and release.
Yeah.
How did that feel for you?
Well, the first time, obviously, it's scary, right? I mean, we're told to hold our emotions back as women. You're too loud. You're too sobby, cry. So you have to kind of learn to honor it. So it took a while, but it's like, I don't know, there's word vomit, right? I guess this is like dance vomit. Like
Yeah.
you just feel lighter.
Like-
You hold your head up, your body a little bit taller. Because it's kind of like when you release these things, even though you're doing this in a space, a container where you're protected and you feel safe, when you walk out into your real world, you feel like you have a superpower inside that nobody else can see but you. And that's powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
They talk about voice, choice, and agency. So they even some classes when you're first starting, it does empower you, right? It empowers you. It puts you through movement. You're following a sequence. It's a 50-minute workout. It's like the best workout you'll ever have.
Just the warm up.
Just the warm up is 50 minutes.
Class is 2 hours.
Yeah, the classes are 2 hours long. But as you move forward, a lot of traditional classes, you're going to drop into, you learn a routine, and as you get better, you get better at learning routines, right? Yeah. And I feel like S is almost the opposite, where it gives you learn to trust your body and the way you feel. So the further along you go and the more advanced you get, the less guidance you actually receive. So in the beginning, it is a little bit of hand-holding. You are being told, you're being guided through your movement. You go through a very structured class, but as you go into your intermediate and advanced series, sometimes your day, I mean, I think we all can attest, like sometimes you don't feel, you go to a dance class or the gym and you're like, I am just not here,
Absolutely.
There's women that spend the first 50 minutes, once you get more advanced, rolling around on their mat on the floor and not even getting up to move, because that's just what their body's calling for. Some women spend time sitting on a oversized fluffy chair, that we have stuff that you don't typically have in a pole studio. We have the chairs, we have these fur luxurious mats.
It's like a sensory experience.
It's 100%
Yeah.
dropping you back in your body. We play with taste, we play with
clothing.
Smell, we play with clothing.
You know what this all is like? It's encompassing a soul tie without the intimacy of like sex.
Yeah.
It's all is it, because when you're not looking. Well, I mean, some people are looking in the mirror, but most of the time you're not. You're engaged with your partner, so it's like the pole is your partner in that instant. That's exactly what I'm getting from S Factor. It's like a non-sexual soul tie.
Well, it's taking back. I mean, women, we refer to ourselves as erotic creatures in S Factor. Erotic being feminine. That's what erotic means. It's feminine. Somehow society has made that a really bad word. It's not a bad word. I mean, it is to society because look at all the stuff they do to us, right? But erotic means feminine, right? And then creature, that's who we are. So, honoring that ability to be feminine, whether it's feeling sensual, which could be sexy, feeling sexy. Like I feel sexy in these glasses, what does that mean, right? It can mean anything. And taking the stigma away from it, that a woman can wake up, do her hair, wear whatever she wants, go out to the grocery store and feel sensual and not feel shamed about it. Right? Like I feel good, or I feel good. And the pole's just an extension. What does Sheila call it?
It's the frame of the artwork
of your body. Right? So it's just a tool to play with.
Got you. So pretty much once these women tap in with their sexy, y'all should just let them be. It's like, you know what? You found your sexy, just do you, however you feel. Yeah. And it's like, You said vomit out. It's like an exorcism of bullshit. It's like, just let it go.
Yeah.
Right? Exorcism of the bullshit. Like, let it all go and just be free. Okay.
Yeah, we're for sure putting that on a shirt. Exorcism of bullshit.
Excuse me. We'll talk. You know.
Right? She's like, we'll give you some free classes.
What's up, you guys? Your girl Leah J back again with Dynasty Queens. I wanted to talk to you guys about Fashion Nova. Are y'all really ready to explore these hot summer Fashion Nova deals? I don't think y'all are ready. No. Y'all, let's get into these trendy, stylish jeans, these hot shoes, and fashionable purses. All you got to do for Fashion Nova is go to fashionnova.com, use the coupon code Dynasty Queens to get your fabulous deal at checkout. Tell them Leah J sent you. That's right. Fashion Nova, the official sponsor of Dynasty Queens.
So what's the story behind the name 11th House? Tell us about that.
So 11th House actually came, so when we first started, Kim, I guess you would have to kind of backtrack. So you brought up the fact that like S Factor has no mirrors and all this stuff. My dance background, her background was S. My dance background was traditional dance classes. I grew up teaching hip hop, taking ballet, tap, jazz. So it was very basic studio, light, bright, mirrors, typical studio life. So, and I mean, me, like I love to record. Like I love to throw on some heels and do a number and like edit it to the gods, But Kim, S Factor is the polar opposite. And so when we started kind of talking about doing this, it was really important to me because I didn't truly understand S Factor yet. So I wanted there to be the duality. I think that something we celebrate in S is the masculine and the feminine in all of us and the ability to ebb and flow and pull from those things as you need in your life. So just as much as I think that there is the need for a container that doesn't have mirrors, that has the red light where you can not look at yourself, I think it's just as important to have that space where there is the mirrors and there is the light. And so we actually have 2 studio spaces. So there's one that's called the studio, and that's the typical light, bright with mirrors, typical pole classes, dance classes, and everything else. The other one is the vault. That's the journey side. And that's because you're unleashing these emotions and we want to keep them safe. And that you can walk away from that space and go on into your life and you can come back to it and pick up right where you left off. When we started looking for the space, we found a couple that we liked, but the universe was not working in our favor. We couldn't figure out why. And then we ended up coming across the space on Stewart and 11th. And it's downtown, right on East Fremont. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting there kind of mulling over. I'm mostly in charge of marketing. So
100% in charge of marketing.
I'm 100% in charge of marketing. But, I was sitting there going, we knew we wanted to call it House because it's
a community.
It's a community. And I want to, as a coach, this is my home studio and I know what it feels like to be at home, right? You're most comfortable when you get home, your house is clean, you light a candle and it's just you and your dog or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's when you are able to drop in and let go. If you have some music on and you're cooking in the kitchen, that's when you feel sexy because no one's watching you. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was important for us to kind of lean into the house aspect of it because we wanted it to feel like you were dancing with your friends in your living room. So, then it just so happened I started looking through, the number 11 and how could we incorporate this? And in astrology, the 11th house is the house that actually holds community and holds like group activity new beginnings. So it kind of just worked out. And everything that we've done so far has just been, it's like we hit these roadblocks and we can't figure out why, whether it be the space or looking for coaches or our trainings to get the certifications we need or licensing. And it's like the second that we either remove aspects of the situation or grow into the people that we need to be to open that door, it just does. And so we leaned into it. The marketing kind of came from it. And now it's just become this thing where it's 11th house. That's what it is. Like, and it's on 11th Street. Our grand opening is on 11/11. So
Wow.
it just was a lot of synchronicities.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, everything is meant to be, like you said, everything fell into place the way it needed to be. So,
And honestly, even better.
So beautiful so far.
It's become even better than what it was gonna be, I think. I think in our minds at the beginning of all of this, Kim and I made the joke, like we just wanted a place where we could go dance at 3 a.m. Like, that's really all that mattered. I was like, when I can't sleep and, my husband's asleep and the house is quiet, I can't blare music. I'm like, we need a place to go that has a pole that I can turn on some hot pink lights, throw on my heels, and dance until I'm tired, And so it kind of went from this little idea of a space to now this community complex with a teacher room. And, we've really thought through, it's not just a studio, it's an experience. From the time you walk in, that we have this big neon sign that says "Welcome home, goddess," and and it's Vegas. It's the one place that we can put ourselves in a situation like where it doesn't just have to be about the classes; it can be about the experience you have from the second you walk in the door.
Absolutely, that's amazing. I really like the fact that, once again, the psychology of it all. So you start them off at the studio, where they're not thinking about outside judgment. It's really tapping in. And then you're like, wait a minute, I am a bad bitch. Let me see myself in these mirrors real quick at the other studio down the street.
Right?
Hello.
And we even really thought about it. That's where, I think that's where I kind of, I get really into it, is the idea of like, how can we take it a step further? How can we make this experience? Everybody loves the studio that is recognizable and iconic the second that you see it on somebody else's social. So I took that into consideration, and I'm like, in our Light Bright studio where there is the ability to record, we mapped it out so that you have these little moments of, plants in the background with pink lights and our logos, and just so that you have something that you can look forward to, or if you see it online, you're like, I want to go record a video there. I want to look like a bad bitch in that room. Like,
And the market is so important too, like you're saying, like for like in LA, they have the playground. Like, you see all the iconic choreographers, everybody at the play. I've been to the playground myself. You've seen everybody at the playground, and it's just like, damn, I gotta go there. Like, let me book a flight to LA. Let me go and do a hip hop class or something, because it just looks so dope, and y'all incorporated too.
It's so funny you say that, because as we were going through this process, I found their show, that they have. There's a show on Netflix, I think, or something, about the dancers who work at the playground.
Yeah.
And so when I was watching that, I was the way that they kind of approached their marketing, the way that they approached their merch, and how they kind of filtered that. It was important for us when we started talking about this. We had experienced, whether myself as a teacher and other friends of mine as teachers, we all kind of experienced the same thing working for other places where, it was kind of a quick turnover. The business model is typical to like a Taekwondo gym or something, where they're always just looking for the next client. It's not really about nurturing the clients that are there. Mm-hmm. And also not necessarily nurturing the teachers. And at the end of the day, a business is nothing without the women that are like running it, right? So if your teacher isn't able to come and give 110% and they're constantly giving 75, then your students aren't getting as much, and then you have more turnover. So, Kim got really passionate about figuring out a way to pay the instructors a livable wage based off of what they worked. And, just appreciating their art and using, instead of going, okay, we have an opportunity to make profit, that's not the mission for Kim and I. Kim and I are not doing this to be millionaires. We're doing this to, like we
there's
said,
no way to, right? It's not a pole. Nobody's going to get super rich off of being a pole.
pole owner. Like,
but when we peeled the curtain back, peeled the onion back a little bit, and looked at the numbers, which is if you're a business owner, right? Before you start a business, own a business, get into a business, you should really look into the numbers, right? Really just look where the margin is. So when we did that and we realized what traditionally, probably all kinds of studios, whether it's gyms or dance studios or whatever, what they pay their instructors it's not a living wage. You can't feed yourself. You couldn't feed your family, which would result in somebody having to get a second job or a third job or teach at lots of different studios or strip at night or whatever it is. If pole is your art, just so you know, pole's going to be in the Olympics in 2028.
Wow.
It's this close. So once it's into the Olympics, it's going to be like that 101 Dalmatians movie where everybody wanted a Dalmatian. Like everybody's going to want to pole dance, right? But you have these artists. I mean, if you've never tried pole before, have you both tried pole before?
Oh, I'm an avid pole. I'm a pole girl, hun.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never taken pole classes.
It's hard.
You never taken pole
Or you got
class?
to come to Vegas.
No.
Girl, you guys need to do a Dynasty Queens on the road.
Yes.
That would be.
No, we got to get you on a pole, baby girl.
Yeah. I work in King of Diamonds, so I manage strippers. So.
But pole is hard. I mean, when you realize what it takes for anybody, whether it's climbing it, inverting on it, spinning on it,
it is.
So not pay these artists to do their job, like how that happens. How does somebody who's so good at what they do and know that it's so hard to do allow themselves to get paid so little? It's because society shames them into thinking what they're doing is wrong or there's something shameful about it. So I'm like, that is BS. Right. We're paying them. We don't even get paid. We get paid the same as they do when we teach classes, right? Level playing field. Like there's nothing special about me, but we wanted, so we were able to really peel it back and know that there is a way to support this industry. So a single mom who this is what she does. She could pay her rent, put her kid in daycare, buy new school supplies, and not be struggling.
Right.
And not only be paid fairly, but be celebrated.
Yeah.
Like that was the strategy. I think a lot of times businesses are obviously promoting their business. You have to. But to me, it was like, we have 9 amazingly talented people teaching at the studio. And they are all unique and magical in their own way. So instead of going, well, what can I take from them? I wanted to approach it from an idea of saying, like, what if we just make them the brand? What if we pay to get them professional photos? What if we pay to get them professional video content? What if we invite them over to create these awesome sizzle reels of them? And instead of promoting 11th House, let's just promote them, promote their class, promote them as people, as women, because let's be real, like women are community-based and community-minded.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and most of us have FOMO. So like, if you see a bunch of bad bitches over there having an amazing time, you're going to be like, well, what am I doing on a Friday night? I want to go and do that. I want to go be a bad bitch on a Friday night.
Exactly. I just love that. You guys are really giving back to the community in a different type of way that people don't think of off the top of their heads. This is giving back. Like you said, I like how you guys use the word community a lot. And it's really selfless as well, what you're doing, allowing women to tap in, into their sexy and really appreciate the creatures that we are. I just love it. Now, I know how to shake my ass, okay, and twerk, but I need to get in tune with, maybe with my pole goddess side. But I like to think that I'm in tune with my sexy, but you never know. It's like, there's always room for improvement.
Anybody can pole dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a frame, right? And, think about it for thousands of years, since the beginning of the millennium, women have been celebrated for the way that the curves of their body, the way that they move and that they undulate. I mean, thousands of years ago, women would go out into the fields and move and dance in order to bring rain, or right? It's about fertility. Like, we were honored and blessed. So we naturally can do this. Every woman can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just over the years, something has become shameful about that movement.
And I even
About our
I even want to
curves,
take
right?
it. I even want to take it a little bit back too. Is like, not even just, we use the word women. Like, we're taught.
Oh, it's feminine.
And that's something that we are trying to open up. You know, I began transitioning in December of last year, and I found this practice at that time, and it was like the biggest blessing, because as I was trying to tap back into this feminine part of myself that had been pushed down for so many years and told that it was wrong and that, you know, you shouldn't lean into that. And I'm now, this practice is giving me permission. It's giving me permission to like lean into the femininity. And I think that that's something that we want to open up to everybody. That's why we say community, is because it's not just about being a woman. Yes, it's primarily right now women, but we want to create a space where femininity is celebrated and accessible, where it's something that somebody can come in and use as a tool, because let's be real, like, we're being smothered by masculine energy in the world right now. So it's just the ability,
and not even masculine men. I mean,
masculine women.
I'm a super masculine, you know, like that's how we come. So unfortunately, it's our, it's the tool that we use as women. It's the tool that we use to become successful and move through this society, push our way to the front of the line. So we have mastered, I mean, and you're actually seeing that right now too, is like, you're seeing this rise of the feminine, right? It's powerful. Like, we've taken that back. And so, and knowing, like Hunter was saying, like recognizing that we're yin and yang, we're masculine, feminine, you know, for Hunter, for the trans community, for any human, even a male-born person, anybody who wants to tap into their feminine side, they have it.
Yes.
It's there.
It's there. Let's just find a way to tap it. And for some women, it's how to find it, get it back. Get it back.
Yeah, moms, women who have found themselves in a relationship that has stifled, you know, like I know people in my life that are dating men who, you know, they wear a lacy bralette that peeks out of their tank top. And the first thing that they're asked is like, who are you wearing that for?
Yeah.
And you're like, bitch, I'm wearing this for myself.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And like, when did that become a thing? You know, when did that become something where you simply leaning into the most beautifully, magically expanded version of you as a being?
Yeah.
When did that have to be for anyone other than you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Every single living feminine creature has had that effect.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I love like going on to this, like, you know, you're saying for everybody. And, you know, I have my sweet little 72-year-old mom that she now, like, she'll come over and she's interested in the pole, you know, and her first thing is, my muscles can't hold me. I'm like, girl, I got you. Let me be your rock. Like, I'm gonna hold you. You gonna bend down and touch some toes. You know what I mean? Like, so like that sense of community, it doesn't matter the age range. Like, you can be elevated and not, you know, and have like a good sense of motion and still be able to just own your, you know?
Because at the end of the day, no matter what your age, everybody needs to move. Like, that's just point blank period. I think you could go to any doctor and they would tell you that it's a good idea that you stay mobile. Yeah. So, you know, like we said, like, I think S doesn't focus on the pole. S focuses on the movement, which I think most places, if you're going to a pole studio, they are focusing on the pole. That's what you're there for.
Yeah.
If you're going to a dance studio, you're focusing on dance. If you're going to a yoga studio, you're focusing on yoga. And that's why we don't want to call it a dance studio or a pole studio. We call it a movement community because we have different variations of yoga. We have traditional pole classes. We have heels. We have sound baths on Sunday evenings. We have moving meditations. We have S. So, for the woman who is, like your mom, maybe she's intrigued by the pole, but she goes, I'm not strong enough to lift. That's okay, because we have a plethora of other things that are going to prepare you or develop you to be able to get there. Maybe you start out with a low flow yoga and in 6 months you're taking a tricks class. The goal is, and it goes back to S classes are called a journey. And so we kind of thought through that with the development of, what kind of services we had, how we mapped out the schedule from Monday to Friday, from morning to night, and what journey are people taking? Is somebody able to come at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning and take 4 classes at varying times throughout the week and feel like they've kind of checked a bunch of different boxes in their goal list versus just one line,
I love that. Now, I did want to just touch on that too. You're mentioning the different hours. So what would be the hours of operation for 11th House?
So right now, we have our first classes begin Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. So we have a 6 a.m. Yoga. We have different variations every day. We have 3 different amazing yoga instructors that all have different practices, from vinyasa to yin to forest yoga. We have a girl that has this practice called honey flow, which is it's a traditional yoga class, but it's just slower and a little thicker, and the idea of honey. So we start our morning Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. We break around 1 for a lunch break for a couple hours, and then we pick back up at 4:30 until roughly 10 p.m. every day. So
Monday through Friday.
And then Saturdays, Sundays, we have classes in the mornings, starting at 8 and goes to about 2. And then Sunday evenings, we'll have a sound bath and movement class that's on the schedule regularly. But we wanted to keep our Friday evenings and Saturday and Sunday afternoons fairly open because, like we've said, we wanted this to be a community-based thing, and we wanted to give our coaches and other coaches in the community a space and an opportunity to come up with new ideas of movement. All these teachers have classes that they have to teach, but then what if they do have an idea for a really amazing, pole yoga fusion or a heels workshop that they've been working on choreography for? We wanted to have a space available where we weren't taking away from the classes that are already there, but we also were able to give that space to our teachers to say, develop your business, develop your community, offer something different, inspire something, light a different fire. So, and
then we have fun things.
Yeah.
So, a lot of studios, and this is all dance studios. So, and there's a lot of that do this stuff too, but there's, having a girls' night, a girls' party, everybody come, take some pole class or a birthday party or a bachelorette party. Those are pretty traditional things. We're not saying we're not going to do that, but where we want to focus on is our students that we have, and maybe, just mixing it up a little bit. There's a big sober community in Vegas, right? Yeah. Why not have a place on Friday night where a bunch of people can just come, get all dressed up, maybe some mocktails, and just dance? Or my favorite one is a movie. We really want to do
preview and poll,
burlesque, the movie Burlesque, which everybody loves. And then afterwards, everybody dances to the soundtrack.
Yeah, open poll after. So do a preview night with Let's Watch Chicago, And then after the movie, you can stick around and it's open poll. And we play the soundtrack to the movie we just watched, and you brought your like fun, whatever vibe you want, and we just play for the evening.
Yeah.
I'll be sober 4 years on
Next week.
And in Vegas, there's not a lot of options for people who don't drink or go out.
Yeah.
To go out on a Friday night and still be able to like get dressed up, throw in some cute hair, throw on a cute outfit, throw on your favorite pair of heels, and go out with your girls, unless you want to go to a traditional club. Mm-hmm. So we were like, how can we create that same atmosphere, right? Like, and we kept making the joke. Like, I was like, I want it to feel like a gentleman's club with no gentlemen.
Yes.
Right? Like you could bring your dollars, throw them on your best friend, and nobody's gonna hit on you.
I love that. Yes. Get the money gun loaded, like let's go.
Yeah, and you can have fun, and we want to inspire people to get outside their box. And even back when we were all in like high school or college or whatever, like we all remember theme parties, we all remember theme dances. So, just giving people the option to participate. You don't have to, but if you're coming to an open poll on Friday night, something as simple as creating the, like a lace and leather theme.
Ooh.
It just gives you something to go off of to where you can like set an intention for the evening, throw on something that you've curated and you've discovered about yourself. And it's that favorite jacket that you never have a reason to wear that's sitting in the back of your closet. You're like, this is when I'm going to wear it.
Yes.
We're trying to pull those amazing feminine creatures out of who, women lose it when they have kids. Their identity becomes what they're doing for other people and they forget. And then their kids grow up and they're left with, well, crap. Like, who am I? Where did she go? And that's where we come in. We're there
working women too, right? I mean, women that really, or I keep saying that, I'm sorry, like, just put that, trying to rise above it all becomes so layered with armor that if you were to tell somebody who is super in their masculine and give them a song, maybe that song even feels like something to them. Maybe it makes them sad or sentimental. And you ask them to move, they couldn't move.
Right.
Couldn't. There's no way. They're just bound by this armor. Right. And so having a place where people can come and we can help them safely peel off that armor, move. And then before they leave, we're going to put them back together.
And honor the pieces.
Put all the honor back on. Yeah.
Like, when a negative emotion is evoked, we talk about that in the practice of we're not just celebrating the wins. Like we're not just celebrating, oh my gosh, you looked so hot. Like sometimes you do a strip. We do these amazing strips where you there's one called a 5-layer strip where you get to pull back layers of clothes as you're dancing. It sounds really hot, but sometimes it is a mess. It is, you're trying to get jeans over your heels and like you've never done it before and you're struggling with your clothes, but you have a whole room of people hooting and hollering and cheering you on at how hot it looks that you are struggling. Yeah. And then you start realizing that there is beauty in the chaos of the things that are going on in your life. Like it's okay to both simultaneously be stressed out about work or have, getting your kids to soccer practice and all of these different things and feeling a mess, but looking and being like I'm still fucking hot.
And we talked about this yesterday too. It's the power of no, right? A lot of times, we're like, oh, I like that. I like the way I look in that. I like the way that feels on me. But there's power in that, right? Learning what you like. There's almost more power in learning what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to say no
No, I don't want to wear that.
No.
Right.
I know you think you like me in that, but no. You know, I think there's just so much power in us learning the no's in our lives, right? Because it'll serve us in other things that we do, right?
Yes. And I love that you made that point too, because boundaries is such an important factor in just everyday life. And a lot of people, they're just so okay with pleasing other people and just saying, yeah, like, oh, it's fine. Like, I'm okay with that, or it'll be fine. And living your life as it'll be fine instead of just living your life the way that it's supposed to be taken,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And we're taught that having boundaries is being a bitch, right? Like you're taught from the time you're little that, it's not okay to tell somebody that you don't want to hug, or that you don't want them to touch your hair, or, like that's especially girls. Like you're taught don't be rude. And you're like, I'm not being rude. It's my body. Like, they talk about a body boundary.
Okay. Yeah, it's insane. And just owning that, what y'all are doing right now is going to literally change people's mindset, like community wise. Like I feel like, especially in Vegas, like people, it's such a fast paced city, and people are just trying to be as trendy as possible. We had touched on that, earlier, but what y'all have going on, I've never heard of anything from any fitness studio where, like you said, that's what sets y'all apart. There's no mirrors. There's, when I've taken, pole before, you have the newbies and they're so scared and they're watching all the other, intermediate, advanced students. And it's like, well, shit, like, what did I really sign up for? You know what I mean? And you can just feel that energy just plummet.
Yeah.
Versus what y'all have going on, I don't see that being an issue ever. Like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm going to do me. And if it looks a mess, like, we're talking about, it's fine, because that's part of who I am,
Life is messy.
That.
Right?
100%.
Be messy. Yeah.
Be messy.
Ooh, that's a good shirt. Just be messy.
Oh, man. Nia.
You guys. Okay, so Kim and Hunter, thank you so much for sharing all these wonderful gems with us. Can you please tell people where to find you on social media, how to get registered for some of the classes and all that good stuff?
So our Instagram is at 11th House LV. If you can either go there and check us out. You can go on our website, which is www.11thhouselv.com. And if you use the code 11th when you check out, right now we're offering a 5-class pack
30% off
for originally $159. So you get it for $98 for an intro. And then for the first month unlimited with no contract, if you want to try everything that we have to offer, originally $249 with the discount takes you down to $175 for the whole first month. And both of those are no contract so that you can come and check us out. You can try all of the things that we have to offer. You can feel if it's your vibe and it's your house, and no harm, no foul. If it's not your place, no worries. If it is your home, then we have a lot of perks and different things that we are going to announce once we open at the grand opening. But yeah, 11thhouselv.com or at 11th House LV on Instagram.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Well, they can just come over when you guys come to visit. Yeah.
Hey, look.
You have got to. I just can't wait. I need to get on the pole and I need to experience the whole thing, I just need to get in tune with myself and let's do it.
I love it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, it's been a wonderful episode. I really appreciate both you guys' transparency on coming on board today. So in closing, I am your girl, Nia J.
And I'm Pamela Nicole, and this is Dynasty Queens. See y'all next time.